and sadly, like local government, state government, national government are not great at user experience. So they have this data, but if you actually wanted to find it, it's like a fucking mouse hunt. So we just sort of looked at that and said, we can improve the front end of this database and make it really easy that if you want to know what's in your water, just give me your email and your zip code and I'll send it to you. As opposed to going to newyork.gov/EPA/whatever, and then fucking click 10 different things to get to the thing. Because that's what state experience looks like. Driver's license, rules on your garbage. It's horrible. I don't know why, but we simplified that. And, in my experience, that's the best lead gen tool ever.
Welcome to Limited Supply, the place for refreshingly real takes on what D2C is really like. I'm your host, Nick Sharma. Let's start talking about money. Have you ever added up all the conversions attributed to each of your paid channels and realized that the sum of those conversions is greater than the actual number of conversions on your site? That's likely because most ad platforms tend to over-report and get more credit than they deserve for the conversions they drive. Today, sophisticated marketers are moving away from attribution and moving toward incrementality testing in order to maximize growth and understand efficiency. To find the incrementality of your marketing tactics, you have to run test and control experiments, but these tests are hard to do on your own, and that's why I recommend using House. With House, you have an automated self-service platform that allows you to configure regional test and control experiments to measure incrementality, identify points of diminishing returns, optimally allocate marketing dollars, and maximize your growth. The platform is built by world-class scientists. It allows you to test all your marketing channels, both online and offline. You can measure the impact across all your sales channels, including direct-to-consumer, retail, Amazon, etc., and you can calibrate your in-platform reporting for incrementality with House. My friend Connor at HexClad uses House, and he was actually able to share that when they ran an incrementality test around Meta and Amazon, they realized that a lot of their Meta spend was indirectly driving revenue for Amazon. These learnings actually changed their acquisition strategy for Amazon going forward. If you're a seven-figure brand and you're running on multiple marketing channels, I should say if you're at least a seven-figure brand, then you can potentially save millions of dollars by starting an incrementality practice and learn what's truly driving your business. House uses superior science and makes this type of testing accessible, and so I recommend you check them out. Go to house.io/limited. That's HAUS.io/limited to learn more and get a demo. All right, Ryan, this is an exciting one. I'm excited you're here.
I'm happy to be here.
And yeah, I'm just smiling because I'm thinking of all the people that are about to be pissed off. All the spice
that's about to hit.
All the drama that's about to come from this.
We'll keep it lovely.
We'll try. Okay, why don't we start with this? How much money did you guys raise to start Jolie? I feel like you guys barely raised any money. I was obviously very honored to be a part of the early round, but
yeah, most people, we've raised very little for the scale of business we've created, but we raised just about $2 million.
And that got you through to a point where, was it anticipated that $2 million would be the only money you'd have to raise for equity?
We were hopeful at that time. It wasn't, it's never an exact science, but we had a clear plan to operate the business very profitably quickly. Truthfully, we thought we could get profitable in a year. We got profitable in 5 months.
Oh, wow.
But that $2 million was meant to sort of get us through the year. And we just saw sort of accelerated market fit and traction. So we cut the profit, and we got profitable half the time we thought, and we've never needed to raise capital again.
Most people, I feel, when they see signs of success, they use it as a signal to go raise more. Was that ever a thought?
It was never a thought. I think a lot of first-time founders get this wrong where, well, let me back up. There are certain businesses that have milestones and actually need more capital at certain milestones, or you raise an enormous amount up front. Our business is not like that. We needed capital, but we needed just enough to get going, right? And then we thought we can get profitable. In businesses like that, of which I think most businesses are, there's not these, $100 million development fee, costs needed, right? Like I'm using 100 million as an example. AI is a totally different thing than what we're doing. And most businesses are closer to what we're doing. So you never need as much capital as you ultimately go out and raise. And that's where first founders like over raise. First time founders generally think, I'm going to keep raising money because that makes me more successful. And that has not been my experience. I wanted to raise the least amount of capital. I wanted to have efficiency across the business. Team, capital, margin, or profit, right? Those were the three things I wanted to be hyper efficient about. So no, I never thought about raising more money again.
I'd love to go back. Like you worked at Puma. Is that where you started your marketing career?
No. Yeah, like officially as in a corporate environment. But yes, that was my first real marketing job. I was consulting as a manager of acting talent. I was advising companies, but I did not hold an official role. So my first one was at Puma.
And what was it at Puma that you felt like you learned or you saw that took you to then launch Greats?
Puma's a legacy brand, right? Between Puma and Adidas at one time, up before Nike, they owned 100% of the sport shoe market. One was one or two at any given time up until the 70s, from 1946 until the mid 70s. And then by late 70s, Nike became number one and never looked back. So my point is they're a legacy player, still, multi-billion, multinational player. So I learned a lot, right? Like you're working in infrastructure that built the market that Nike ultimately came and took, right? They were responsible for building the sport shoe market. So it was a really good experience. What my learning was that even in that big corporate structure, and they're German, so this is sort of the ultimate structure, I wasn't built for that. Like I was always challenging the status quo and the way we do things because I thought there could be better ways. And I was frustrated with, the corporate structure not allowing for innovation in the way you think, let alone what you do. So,
did you literally just have a thought of like, I could probably do this better?
Well, it wasn't exactly
or maybe not
that
better,
clear,
but there's a path here.
I was like, this is bullshit. I ultimately went to a different brand, K-Swiss, which was, they recruited me to try to save their brand or help reposition their brand. Same thing, sort of smaller company, still around from the 60s, had a meaningful business, publicly traded company. And I just got frustrated with the structure of that. And that's what ultimately I just said to myself, you have two choices. You can continue to do this and complain all the time because you're frustrated with the structure, or you can leave and start your own thing. So at least you're doing what you believe is right, or better or more efficient, and not have to deal with the corporate lane.
Yeah. And when you left to start Greats, like how did you think about starting that? Like, is that because you raised money for Greats, right? So was your thought like, okay, how did you even evaluate that there was space in the market? Like you go to a shoe store, floor to ceiling, it's covered in shoe boxes.
Right, like did the world need another sneaker
like how'd you
brand?
decide that? Because it's consistent I feel like in your, at least with Greats and Jolie, like you do a lot of things instinctually and they always work.
It was a different time, but yeah, the world certainly didn't need another footwear brand. What I felt we could offer was premium, made in Italy luxury at a accessible price. That was sort of the pricing calculus of what Greats was. We made everything in Italy and we sold it for a lot less than you would for, Brunello or Zegno or any of these sort of other brands that are $400 or $500 or more, and we were $180, right? That was sort of the model. And that model was only a very short-lived model because at that time, and you have to remember this is 2014, this was like...
Right when I graduated high school.
Right, but it was D2C 1.0.
Right.
It was when D2C was a fundraising
machine.
Acronym.
Yeah,
you could
100%.
raise money on D2C shirts, D2C glasses, D2C watches, D2C anything.
Yeah.
And I was the tail end of that D2C 1.0 cohort. So we did raise money. We didn't actually raise a lot in comparison to my peers at that time. We raised less money than, frankly, I should have. I started with I had the same philosophy. I want to raise the least amount of money that I need to get where I want to go, but I didn't do it in the right sequence. Like I raised like $2 million, $2 million, $8 million. And what I should have done was raise $8 million. And then I would have never had to do these like interim things, and it would have been like structurally better. But that was a lesson. Like I didn't appreciate what round structures did to the business overall. Cap table, management, brain, just the whole thing. I just didn't, until you go through it, and then you're like, yeah, okay, there's value, and there may be value, there might not be. But that's how we did it with Greats. And I did believe that it belonged in the world. And I think, when you can offer something better for less, that's always usually a pretty good thing. There's a big market for that. What wound up happening, though, is we all learned very quickly that D2C was not a business model. It was just a distribution channel. And that's when D2C, the luster came off the D2C thing. And now, we're back to where we should be, which is nobody's raising money on D2C.
Right.
And they should have never in the first place.
And then what were the lessons that, because there's a list of like 4 or 5 traits that you had as your checklist to start Jolie. What were the learnings that led to that checklist from Greats?
Well, fashion, and I'm just going to put Greats inside fashion because it's like fashion footwear. There's sizes, there's seasonal changes. Fashion broadly is a very inefficient business. It's really hard to build a great fashion business for all the reasons. You got to, like the way sizing fits, like your measurements might make you a medium in one and a large in another and a small in another. And that's really hard to solve for.
Why is there no universal
there
sizing?
Sort of is, but it's people interpret fit not based on size. Some people just like their shoes to fit bigger.
Yeah.
So they buy half a size bigger.
Oh, interesting.
But you're a size 10, but you buy fucking 10 and a half.
Right.
Like you can't solve for that. And there's millions of people like that. So it's more about the human interpretation of what they like, how it makes them feel. How do they think they look in it? Some people think their feet look too big, so they buy shoes that are too tight. And they'll suffer through like a tight shoe because they want their feet to look smaller. Women are notorious for doing this. These are human traits that make running a business like that very, very difficult. So fashion's hard. That was learned very quickly. Sizes are huge challenges. It creates lots of SKUs. Changing the styles or the colors every quarter. Think about, like, this is a business that you have to change shit every 90 days.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts to think about.
Think about that.
You have to turn through inventory. You have to get rid of unsold inventory.
And it creates this massive inefficiency because, like, today, right now, on this day that we're recording this, fashion brands are designing fall 25.
Yeah.
Maybe even spring 26, actually.
Yeah. I feel like the larger the brand, the further out there.
So they're trying to do that, which nobody's a fortune teller. Trends move ultra fast. So the things they think might be working, by the time it gets there, it's just really hard. And that just led me to thinking about, what type of business can you have the ultimate efficiency around? And particularly for like e-commerce, because D2C as a business model isn't great, but e-commerce is great. So like, you have to be a multi-channel brand, but e-commerce is, still a big part of, it's certainly the biggest part of Jolie's business and still growing as a channel in general. So that led me to the framework that ultimately led me to Jolie.
And what is that framework?
Sizing. So something that's one size fits all. Something that is focused on vanity, because vanity really drives like what we buy and when, and you will protect that part of your wallet until you have zero left. You will go into debt. You're not going to not buy your deodorant, your shampoo, your skin lotion. You're just not. But you might skip a meal or not going out to friends with drinks. Whatever the budget restraint is, you're definitely not cutting the vanity part of it until the very, 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 very end. And the third part was behavior and customer behavior. which I've been sort of studying in a non-scientific way for a long time, is just really hard to shift. It's really hard to change. So what is a behavior that most customers do every single day without even thinking about it? It's like breathing. And that framework, which I sort of thought about over like a vacation and then put on a whiteboard and looked at for a really long time, led to a filtering shower, which is Jolie, right? It is a vanity. It's a beauty product. So it's helping your skin and your hair and sometimes your health. It's one size fits all. And you're doing it every day from the time you're 6 or 7 until you essentially die. And I don't have to retrain you to do this thing. That formula, that's pretty magical. And I, to this day, can't think of another product that fits inside of it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. I've had a lot of morning showers where I've thought of your framework and tried to think what else fits in there. And there really isn't anything. Like Jolie is kind of a perfect unicorn business. And it's crazy that nobody was doing it the way that you were doing it.
Well, that's when you sort of get, that's where gut and instinct, like investors will historically ask you if you think you've discovered something magical, right? They'll go, well, why hasn't anybody else done it? Like, well, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But that's good for us that nobody's done it, right? Because we discovered this thing that we think is going to matter. And Jolie is definitely an example of that.
I remember when you were raising and I sent the Jolie deck to a few people and I was like, guys, this is a no-brainer. Like, this is a no-brainer. You should go in. And they go pass. And then I remember them later, like, that's the only thing I love bringing up to them is, remember when you passed on Jolie?
Yeah.
Remember when I told you?
Yeah. And we weren't really aggressive in our fundraise. Like, we were fortunate enough that we didn't have to be, right?
Yeah.
So, but we also didn't go through sort of traditional institutional sources. Although we did meet with a couple, and it was more about curiosity for me. Like, I wanted to validate my own belief that they have no fucking idea what they're looking at when they're looking at it when it matters. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to name the names, but there are 5 New York-based funds that most people think are excellent at what they do. They all passed. A year later is when the email started like, hey, are you still interested in raising capital? Right? So, and these were people that were early stage investors. These are not the big late stage funds, which is just a different strategy, right? They don't do pre-launch investing. But if you're an early stage investor and you miss a business like Jolie, which
you're pissed.
I just have to challenge, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what did you look at that you did invest in?
Right.
Because I know there's there's very, very few businesses in history that have done what we've done in the time frame we've done it, the way we've done it, and how profitable we've become. So they miss that. What did they actually pick?
Yeah, I remember Vinny said he's looked at tens of thousands of businesses, and Jolie is in the top 1% of businesses he's ever looked at.
Vinny Puggi?
Ever, yeah.
All right, shout out Vinny. He didn't tell me that, but good. I'm glad he told you.
No, he did when we were in Montauk.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. He did say that. And he's got a ton of data, by the way.
Yeah,
like the
so
data
much
he
data.
shared with us about us.
Yeah.
I was like, what the F, man?
Yeah. It's funny too, because now we'll move on, but now all those investors are investing in your competitors, which I want to talk about in a second. But when you launched Jolie, you launched it with a water report that we drove Facebook traffic to, and that became, I think, what is now the new gold standard of lead gen in CPG in general. How did you come up with the water report? And also, can I explain the water report real quick?
Yeah,
so
please.
Essentially, if you just Google Jolie water report, you'll see a landing page. You put your name, your email, and your zip code, and then that creates a Klaviyo record. Klaviyo pulls from the EPA's API your local water report, puts it into a Klaviyo template, and sends it out within 30 seconds.
Yeah. And so it's giving you a local report at your zip code level. So it's super customized to where you live. Real time. I'm a marketer at heart, right? So I knew that education was going to be key here. And there was this insanely great database out there that every state has to manage. So every state by law must report what's in the water.
Whether or not it's at the legal levels, doesn't matter.
No, it's like, this is what's in your water. They're sort of giving you an index report. against the EPA levels. Like EPA recommends 1, we're at 2. EPA 1, we're at 0.5. Whatever the results are. And sadly, like local government, state government, national government are not great at user experience. So they have this data, but if you actually wanted to find it, it's like a fucking mouse hunt. So we just sort of looked at that and said, we can improve the front end of this database and make it really easy that if you want to know what's in your water, just give me your email and your zip code and I'll send it to you. Mm-hmm. As opposed to going to newyork.gov/EPA/whatever, and then fucking click 10 different things to get to the thing.
Right.
Because that's what state experience looks like. Driver's license, rules on your garbage. It's horrible. I don't know why, but we simplified that. And, in my experience, that's the best lead gen tool ever. Like we were converting in the beginning, pre-launch, 50% of traffic. Yeah, well, it fluctuated, but on average, 50% of the people that went to the landing page gave us their email.
Yeah, which is unheard of.
Unheard of.
Absolutely unheard of.
Like you're at 10%, you're killing it. 50% is never, I don't know of any other tool that's ever done that.
I remember seeing those numbers, and then that's when I started Masala Capital for 1 quarter. And I was like, yo, this is the biggest check I've ever written in my life.
First and last.
Big check. Yeah.
But that was a great tool. And we still use it.
Yeah. And okay, so once you launched, there was or actually even before you officially launched, how did you even think about developing the product? Like you had this idea. I remember Arjun, who's your co-founder, had all these ideas about the pattern of how the holes were on the shower head, and then you guys brought it to life so fast in this Apple-like experience when you open it. Like, how'd you go about that process?
I mean, I've developed a lot of product in my life, not particularly in the beauty space, but just product. We're product people. We like brands and product. And I have had a philosophy that, it should look premium. It should feel premium. It should be an experience on the unboxing that's beauty oriented, not hardware or plumbing oriented. Plumbing experience is like you get like a cardboard box with nothing on it. And it just like falls out, or it's like wrapped in like plastic that you cut with a razor blade. And that experience wasn't going to match the utility of what we were building, right? We wanted something that was going to emit emotion or drive emotion when you unboxed it, all the way down to like the Fibonacci sequence that we referenced in the pattern of holes. And in the beginning, some people said, hey, there's no water coming out of these holes. And we're like, yeah, it's not supposed to. It's there for like design, but the function is only coming out of these holes. Mm-hmm. And like, that's just how I remember like doing the box, and I was, this goes down to like what happens in the warehouse, right? So 3PLs, warehouse jobs are, thankless. Like it's a really mindless job, and it's really hard. It's monotonous. And, you're not inspired when you're working in that sort of environment. And the more you ask that person to do, the more likely there is to be a mistake. So what I'm getting at is if you have to pick 3 things to put in a box and then do a certain way to seal it, that takes 1, time, 2, costs money, and 3, you may get it wrong. Mm-hmm. And that means every customer is getting a different thing because this person's really good at packing and this person's not so good at packing and this person forgot to pack, right? Like I wanted to eliminate that. So ultimate efficiency. So we designed a box. One, I don't like waste environmentally and money, cost-wise. We designed a box with no shipping, peanuts. Like you open our box and nothing comes falling out.
Right.
And you're like picking up shit off the floor and like stuffing it in a bag. It's just a beautiful, simple, self-contained box. You pull a tear strip, top pop comes off. It's in a paper pulp molded thing, so it holds everything in place. And that's all recycled material. Mm-hmm. And nothing goes inside it. There's 5 colors. Your job at the warehouse is to just pick the thing off the shelf of the color that was ordered and put the sticker on it
for
the mailing. That's it. we eliminated every single step possible. No corrugated, no inside this box, right? That was a learned lesson from building a company where there were things that had to be packed in boxes and there were shipping materials that had to go in there, and how many mistakes got made at that level. And that's part of design to me.
If you were redoing the Greats shipping experience today, would you do it the same way? Like a wraparound box, or a box that you kind of pull the tab, but you just slap the label on?
I always wanted to do something better. I always thought there was better. I just never got to it.
Yeah.
But I talked about it, or we at the company talked about it all the time. Like, can we design a better packaging for e-commerce for footwear? Because the big traditional retail box that we use is for retail. And it's meant to stack on shelves and then go back to the back and you pull it out and you bring it to the customer. That doesn't apply to e-commerce, right? We don't need that for e-commerce.
Right.
And then that box went in another box, cardboard, that had to be taped up.
Right.
And then, right? So there were all these steps and all these costs that we didn't need. So I thought about it, but I never got to it.
Yeah.
But it led me to, like, you know, when you start with a clean slate, you're like, okay, we're creating the market. We can create the experience.
Yeah.
I didn't have to look anywhere to go, not that I believe in best practices, but I would have looked and said, what are other people doing? We just started from, like, here's what we're going to do. This is how we think it should be. And now everybody that's followed us has done some very similar things.
Yeah. So before we get to that, so I feel like you've basically taken the first third of aisle 17 at Home Depot and turned it into like a beauty brand. And there's so much.
Is aisle 17 like the hardware brand, or you just made that up? That would be great if you knew that.
That would be crazy. But you've sort of like intertwined it within culture as this beauty. It's not, people don't even call it a beauty device. They call it like a beauty tool or a beauty product. Like, how did you, can you just explain how your brain thought about the positioning? Because we'll talk about it in a second, but there's so many competitors that, like, they just can't do that. And if somebody were to try, like, I genuinely believe if somebody were to try to copy everything Jolie did today, it would not work at all.
We know it doesn't work, because we actually talk about what we do pretty openly, and at least I do on my LinkedIn and other podcasts. And then we see the version that somebody tries to do, and you're just like, that's when you know, like, there's an art to what we do and there's an execution, like maniacal execution. You can be good at execution, but we haven't found a competitor that actually has yet, at least not the way we do it. The way I was thinking about it was really simple. And this is where complex ideas can be boiled down. If you can take complex things and make them simple, which I believe you can do for many things, then you get to the root of it. And, you know, the water that we shower in is the constant in your routine, right? So you have all these beauty products, all these hair brands. They're all focused on, like, the thing you put on your head or you put on your skin. And many people will change out of those brands, like, all the time. Like, they try new stuff literally like monthly, right? So that's this, like, rotating thing of new product. The one thing you're doing every single day for your whole life is showering, and water is so essential to your skin and hair health. Mm-hmm. And the beauty industry at large has, like, ignored it. They just didn't even think about it. Why? Because they are good at putting things in jars, not solving this other.
And I guess for them, like, the worse everything else is, the better their products sell.
Theoretically, right? Because there's limitations to what efficacy they can get. If the water is the constant that's used all the time, that's wiping away the natural oils on your skin and destroying your skin biome, yes, putting more lotion on will alleviate that temporarily, but it doesn't really help it long term. Like, it doesn't solve it. It's like a Band-Aid solution. I understand why that's in their best interest, like, as an industry, because it means they're going to continue to be able to sell lotion. If we solve the problem of water, which is doing this harm in the first place, then you'll need less lotion. Mm-hmm. Now, yeah, I get why a beauty company didn't say, let's just solve the problem.
Right.
But that's where innovation comes, and that's where Jolie gets to live, and that's where the opportunity was, and that's why we're a beauty wellness product, because we're solving a massive problem that everybody has nationwide and around the world for the most part. They do it all the time. And if we solve that problem, you're just going to have better skin and hair, like even if you use no products. So like that's what we were excited about. We can create a new market in beauty. We can solve a massive problem, 260 million shower heads in the US alone, just in houses, residential. And we can build a really big business by doing something really good.
All right, I need to interrupt this podcast to ask you a very important question. Have you ever wondered how much of your DTC ads, the ads going directly to your website, are impacting other sales channels in your business? For example, even with YouTube showing a 0.8x ROAS in platform, do you understand the impact that it has on driving sales in Target or Amazon? Chances are, unless you have an incrementality practice in place, it's hard to understand the impact of your ad dollars at a true incremental view, meaning you know that even though the YouTube might show a 0.8x ROAS, it's driving incremental sales to Target and Amazon, and therefore YouTube has a true incremental ROAS of 2.2x. Recently, with one of my favorite brands, Inkbox, House ran a test, and when they looked at Snap ads, it drove a 5% revenue lift on their DTC business. However, when they ran an incrementality experiment, isolating a control and expose group to the Snap ads, they saw that Snap delivered an 11% lift on Walmart sales and an additional 5% lift with Amazon sales. Experiments like this are so necessary when you have more than 2 channels of marketing or 2 channels of sales and distribution. In-platform reporting over-reports itself because they look for correlation, not causation. This specific case study or use case alone is why I recommend you get a demo of House. House is a self-service, automated, easy to set up incrementality and experimentation platform. It's built by the best scientists and economists and is trusted by leading brands to understand a marketing channel's true impact. If you're a 7-figure or larger omni-channel business, I highly recommend you spend 15 minutes, check out a platform demo of House. It blew my mind when I first saw how easy it was to set up the experiments, and I'm sure it's going to do the same for you. Go to house.io/limited to learn more. That's haus.io/limited to learn more. And do you feel like that the positioning of Jolie as a beauty brand is like the way that you did the positioning, is that an unlock for a lot of other brands that are struggling?
In terms of our competitors?
No, not competitors, just brands in general. Like if let's say like a butter brand was launching, right, in retail.
Yeah.
Do you think positioning is the thing that's stopping them from getting 0 to 10?
No. I mean, it's hard to say you're a butter brand, but you're not a butter. Like, what would you say you are, right? Like,
yeah.
But
that's fair, I guess.
But positioning matters. What I'm saying is, like, within butter, where are you positioned? Are we the best butter, the tastiest butter, the most expensive, the cheapest? That would all be part of positioning.
Sure. That's
all part of brand, right? Like, what brand are you? What do you stand for? That matters to me. In the end, I think, and I've said this for a long time, I think services are becoming more and more commoditized, and we'll get to a flat field for everybody from Google, Meta, TikTok, all of that. The edge was really big when it all first started. You had to have this sort of expertise and understanding of the platform, and somebody learned that first and fastest and best. And there was one of them, and now it's like it just went like this. Like, that person is no longer there. They're like there. So edge is almost eliminated. And essentially they'll be commoditized entirely. We're basically there. So then what do you have? In terms of marketing, you're like, well, my brand, if my brand is perceived or is, and I'll just use them interchangeably, better, or at least, then the market says, we don't care about the marketing. We just want that brand. Mm-hmm. I'm loyal to X because of what that brand stands for, why I believe they're better. You create an affinity. And that's where you see outsized results. Creating demand is very different than creating awareness. Demand is not generated from a digital ad campaign. Yeah. Awareness is, but demand is like, I want that. Mm-hmm. I want that is not generally the reaction somebody gets from a Meta ad. At least not on a first, it might be a thing that they learn about. They go, ultimately, I want that. But it's not originating from like an ad.
Right. So how do you think about separating them? Because I feel like most people think demand comes from digital ads and awareness comes from we're just gonna have a few cute TikToks that go up, or we're gonna sponsor an event, or kind of like these things that don't really move the needle. But how do you think about demand and awareness? Because I think honestly, I can't think of another brand that has done it so well in such a short amount of time.
And they're oftentimes difficult to separate, and I understand they're very nuanced. I think when you get down to why does Nike sell this many pairs of shoes and Adidas sell this many, right? Because the intrinsic value of the thing they're making is relatively the same.
Mm-hmm.
They're leather or they're wovens on a rubber sole, right? And one has this logo and one has that one. But why does one so far out exceed, right? And that would be brand. And brand is a really, really, we can define it by a definition, but it's really hard to put your finger on it when you get into the psychology of it. It's complicated. But what I think the behavior is around brand is I respect Nik's opinion. Nik talks about a brand that sells that shirt. What is that? Queen's?
Theory.
Oh, okay. You talk about whatever brand you like, and I go, yeah, man, that shirt looks pretty good. And then I go and I research Theory, right? Because you're a respected thought leader around polo shirts, I'm giving you a lot of credit now, but because you are, you then convince me just by the fact that you're wearing it that I should know about it. That's how demand really gets created, in my opinion. And people influence people is what we say at Jolie. It's why we lean so heavily on creators. I won't use the word influencers, but just creators to sort of share their story of what their experience is with Jolie. Because if you're a creator with 1 follower or 1 million followers, if you talk clearly and practically about the thing that you like, we believe you will influence somebody within your social circle to go research Jolie. That has been our philosophy from pre-launch. That's how we pre-launch. That's what we started doing, making sure that certain people had Jolies. So
even with the Water Report, you had a lot of creators that were putting out content for the Water Report.
That's right.
Pre-launch.
Yep. And that's worked really well for us. And I think you can replicate that strategy. I don't know if you can replicate the results, but the strategy can be replicated. And I think each brand should think of their own, spin on how to do that. Because every brand is different. You can't do exactly what we did and expect it to work for you if you're selling butter. But you can gift butter to people who cook and eat,
right?
Which is a lot of people, and then make sure that your messaging around your butter is communicated.
Totally. What about, so you touched on Meta a little bit.
My favorite topic.
Yeah, your favorite topic. So when we were at I forget what VC office we were at a few months ago, talking about AI for a few hours.
Oh yeah.
But I remember you were very anti-Meta there. I mean, you've always been anti-Meta. There. Yeah, there was a Meta person. And
she didn't really like me.
No, she didn't. But you do spend,
spend a lot
6 figures on Meta.
Yeah.
So, how do you justify that thinking? Or how do you see, actually, yeah, better question. How do you see Meta fit into this, into the awareness and the demand piece? And would you cut Meta off completely?
I have in the past. And it's worked, actually. Meta is not 0 and it's not 100, right? And I think what the way I try to simplify it for everybody is that if Meta was such a valuable platform for marketing, we'd have more profitable e-commerce companies. It's that simple, right? Meta is a platform that you program in ultimately what you're willing to pay for the customer, and ultimately Meta will take you to that number and beyond it really fast, within weeks. So you'll never really see my CAC. I'm going to just use these as round numbers. My CAC is $100. I'm willing to pay up to $100. You're never going to see Meta deliver you for a year $50.
Mm-hmm.
Ever.
Yeah.
Okay. So you basically have to lie then and say my CAC is only $50 and it'll charge you $60. But what happens then?
Right.
Then you get caught up in this who's willing to spend more.
Right, then you get throttled.
And then you never get right. So they built Facebook built a brilliant machine for printing cash. That doesn't mean it's good for you, brand, because you can't make money from Meta. You cannot. And this is what you do for a living. So if we tell our team, like, you have unlimited budget, all we care about is CAC. If you can spend $20 million this month, great, spend it. But you can't because you'll never get there at this number. That's how businesses should think about their business. And unfortunately, too many of them are relying on Facebook, and they have this belief, or Meta rather, they have this belief that the good old days of Meta are still going to be possible. They're not. They're never coming back. So you must change your methodology. And if you're spending more than 70% of your budget on Meta, and you've been doing this for years and years and years, and you're not profitable, you're not going to get profitable doing that. You just won't. And I don't know why that's not been like, so holy shit, we have to like either like shut down growth and reset our business somehow. And I know this is hard, but the other alternative is what?
Right.
You're just on this wheel of like never making money? Like what? That doesn't sound fun to me. Is
your view that Meta is a piece of the puzzle versus the entire puzzle?
So it's a tool in a wheel, or a cog in a wheel, of which, if you are less reliant on it, is really useful. We're an example. Like you said, we spend 6 figures easily on monthly, and can afford to do that, meaning we're not relying on it to drive cash flow for us. We're saying we can force this thing to live right where we want it to and extract that out of it. But unfortunately, I can't spend 7 figures. I can't. We have not come close to that. Not efficiently. I can spend 7 figures, but I won't make any money on it.
Right.
So why would I do it? Like, our goal is to just be profitable, remain profitable, get more profitable. And unfortunately, and we're sort of in this view right now, like we're sharing it real time today on this podcast. If I could spend $1 million a month and be profitable on Meta, we would. We can't. So it's only good for a certain amount.
Yeah, makes sense. Meanwhile, when I open Instagram, I get 3 Instagram story ads in a row. I don't know if you get that too.
I don't.
But there's just
how many times do you visit our site?
No, I'm not talking about Jolie ads. I do get a lot of Jolie ads.
Oh, you're getting all the competitors. Yeah, because they're
But I get all your competitor ads. And yesterday I got
keep
3 in a row.
Guys. Go for it.
Keep spending. I got the first ad was from a company that's using your clinical study as the creative, but then you swipe up and there's no mention of it on the page itself. The second ad was comparing a brand competitive to Jolie. It's like brand versus Jolie, we found the winner, and you swipe up and it goes to a bullshit article. And then the third one is a new brand that just raised money from all the VCs that I know passed on Jolie, and they copied the exact same product design as the ad that was comparing themselves to you.
Yeah.
And then there's a bunch others. There's like, there's one that is a tiny little one. I mean, all these brands just keep comparing themselves to Jolie in some way, but like they are all Home Depot brands. They're not Nordstrom brands.
Yeah. It's a really big market. We think that the competition validates the market that we've actually created. Whoever raised VC money to do this, good luck, because you're now going to be put under a thumb to do something that you will not be able to. And we're fine with that. Like, again, it's a big market. We never thought that we'd be the only player in the space. I think as a founder, who shares strategy, and like, these guys are reading our shit. Like, I'm not, that's fine. As a founder though, to watch them go out and then just try to copy it, that's where I'm like, guys, you need to get creative, man. You can't the market is fucking talking shit about you because you're like, that's the exact same language. That's we're the only
same number.
We're the only clinically proven, lab tested filtering shower in the world. You can't just take our data and use it as yours. That's illegal. which all of these companies have gotten letters from, and eventually like we'll take them to court because they can't do that. It's misleading. It's illegal. It's not misleading. It's actually illegal to make that claim that is not yours of ours. So, it's all good, man. They spend most of their money on Meta too, so.
Yeah, the worst is when I swipe up to a landing page and I know it also follows like my format of a landing page.
Yeah.
And then I'll cross-check it with my newsletter database.
But you do the same thing. Openers. You've literally written newsletters to say, here's how to do it.
Exactly.
And then you watch them do it. You're like, wait, didn't I tell you how to do it? And you're still doing it wrong?
Yeah.
But isn't that frustrating?
No, 100%.
It's like you're a teacher and you're like, dude, what part of the lesson did you not listen to?
Yeah.
All of it?
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, so I remember one of the first retail accounts that you guys were in was SX Market, and it was like I think it was like less than 10 shower heads. Is that right?
Essex?
Down in Lower East Side?
Yeah, yes, but that was like almost like not a pop-up, but like a.
But yes, first place Jolie was sold, right?
Yes.
And now when I go to LA, it's like Jolie's got the biggest end cap in all of Erewhon's, all the Erewhon's. How did you decide when it was the right time to go hit retail?
I mean, we were
and same for Amazon, actually.
I would not include the Essex Market
as
like
our
test as into retail.
Yeah.
That was just like a person we knew. It was like, yeah, let's put it in there. It's like awareness for us. Erewhon was our first legitimate retail account. And we were always going to be an omnichannel business. I don't think there's a way to run a business today without being omnichannel, particularly in beauty. And Erewhon, it was a radical idea, frankly, because Erewhon has a really robust beauty section that skews sort of natural and clean, but they didn't sell this kind of thing. And, to their credit, when I spoke to the family that owns it, he's like, so why do I need a shower head in my store? Like, he was super matter of fact. I'm like, well, here's why. Here's what this is. Here's what this really means. And he's like, I don't know, man. Just send me one and I'll have, the team try it out. And like a week later, he's like, holy shit. Okay, so the woman that is using it said her hair is this and no. He's like, this sounds really cool. And that was how that started. But there was skepticism and then there was belief. The belief came from experience, right? It was, and they're in LA, which has horrible water. Like, they used it, they saw the results, that's it. And that's what we do. Like, you don't grow from zero to where we are without providing a real solution.
Yeah. But was there like a revenue target that you were like, all right,
No.
once we hit this, or once we feel like there's a certain level of awareness, like how did you feel confident that people were going to go to the store, see it, and end up buying it?
Well, there wasn't a revenue goal, and we just believe that the sooner we get into the right retailers, the better our business will get, because retail is another source of discovery.
Mm-hmm. And you weren't worried that like if you didn't sell enough units, you'd be taken down and not be able to get back in?
I mean, it's not that I was worried, but we had limited risk there, right? It was Erewhon.
Right.
There was 10 stores. It's hyper-focused in LA only. So like if it didn't work, we could turn around and say, it didn't work because it's a grocery store.
Right.
If it didn't work at Ulta, that might be a different
Right.
But it did work, and it worked in a grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
So now, cut to today, we're going all doors and Nordstrom's in a week.
Wow.
We'll be in 70 Ultas at the end of the year. I just had a meeting this afternoon with our fourth hire. So we have a full-time team of 4 now.
Wow. You're really growing the team now.
Grew the team by 25%.
Damn.
We're in 575 professional hair salons.
That's fourth hire or fourth person? Because you and Arjun, I feel like shouldn't count.
Fourth person.
Okay, so it's just you and Arjun,
yeah,
co-founders, and 2
second
employees.
hire, if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we're in 570 pro salons, and we'll be in 1,000 by the end of the year. So like this distribution channel of hair, like high-end hair salons, is a really awesome channel.
There's do you know that brand SoloWave?
Mm-hmm.
They have a really interesting distribution channel, which is like makeup artists, celebrity makeup artists.
Yeah.
Have you found any interesting avenues?
We would
like that?
Our equivalent is a hairstylist, professional hairstylist. So like the person that does the makeup and the hair, we got the hair person.
And was that something really hard to do, to go break that network? Because I imagine those people are like, they're not clicky, but like they probably have things they're used to. They've got reps they're normally talking to.
Yeah, it wasn't hard in that we were just like, hey, we want to send you one and try it. And they started using it and it worked. So they started recommending it to their clients. No, it wasn't hard, frankly. The truth is hair stylists know more about water and what it does to their client's hair than anybody. Mm-hmm. So they're sort of they were the first group to sort of speak on our behalf, right? Before customer. They were like, water's bad for your hair. I use Jolie. You should too, is sort of the simple version. And now we have thousands of stylists that use it, but we're in almost 1,000. We'll be in 1,000 doors by the end of the year. And
last thing I want to touch on is like creative. I feel like you guys have done such an interesting, or taken an interesting route with creative. Like from at least from the assets I've seen run as ads or on your site, I don't think you've done more than like 3 proper photo shoots since the beginning.
We've done more than that, but from a product level,
yeah, just product.
Yeah, product. Yeah, we've not really done a lot. From a content level, we're doing more than that, like for ads now.
Yeah.
But like our truck advertisement, which we are nominated.
No way.
Ad Age, not nominated. It's sort of Ad Age does this like breakout brand thing. This week we just got it Monday, and we're like one of 10 brands.
Wow.
Like Coteries at one of them. A brand that Pepsi owns. Cotopaxi. So like we're a really nice company, and we're sort of like the youngest of the group.
Yeah.
But that truck ad that we have now in New York and Miami, right? Like, what if we told you this truck what if we told you your shower water is dirtier than this truck? And the truck just looks like it's covered in mud. We've gotten more unmeasured value out of that than any out-of-home campaign I've ever seen. Because it's a truck and it drives around all day and people see it all the time. So much so that yesterday somebody sent me a video of this YouTube guy doing a really, really funny bit on Zyn. And it's like a 12-minute content piece. He's like a comedian. It's fucking hilarious. You should watch it. I'll send it to you. But the opening sequence is him like a reporter, like walking down the street, and behind him drives the Jolie truck. So this video that he's done on Zyn has gotten like 1.5 million views, and the first thing you see is a Jolie truck driving past.
That's amazing.
So like we've sort of penetrated the zeitgeist in New York. Like our truck will continue to run, and it's kind of like a thing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, totally.
And there's no measurement that we have that says we do this, we sell more Jolies. We don't have that metric.
Right.
All I know is like it starts showing up and up and up, and people start talking to him, and somebody's stopping on the street. I saw your Jolie truck. We do that. That's what, like, we're fine with it not being measurable. We just want it to be part of the conversation, and we've achieved that.
Mm-hmm. I feel like you started with those with like what, 3 to 5 trucks? 5 trucks, and then now I feel like I see one at least once a day.
There's 15 trucks.
Yeah.
But
they're always moving.
They're always moving 24, like not 24 hours.
I definitely see one on the way to the office
literally
every
like
morning.
7 days a week. They're driving all over the city.
Yeah.
And it's a super valuable campaign for us. And we just opened Miami. So now we'll do the same thing in Miami.
Right.
And then LA is a little bit harder because it's not as dense. Like it's so spread out. But we could do Chicago. We could do Austin. There's other cities that we will do this in.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the guys listening, my competitors, will be doing something similar as well.
Yeah, 100%. They'll jump in and try to make their truck dirtier than the Jolie truck. Let's see. Last thing was, so last time we did like a talk or something together. It actually might have been last year around this time at the Build conference.
Yep.
And you mentioned at that time that on that, as far as that date last year, you had made 10,000 pieces of content, or received or been tagged in 10,000 pieces of content.
Yeah.
How has that number changed this year? And like, is there any sort of a summary around how you guys have been able to do that?
Well, we're north of 35,000 pieces.
For this year?
Total. I don't know what this year is.
Yeah.
My guess is it's probably like 17, but that's just a guess. Because I look at the collective, because it's not about how many we do this year. It's about how many exist in the market all the time.
Right.
And the content's sort of evergreen, right? It doesn't really go away. What we do at the scale we do it in is not easy. It's super manual. That is sort of the issue. Most people don't want to put the time into this very manual process of getting the address, contacting person, getting address, what color do they want, having that shipped out, and then waiting, right? We're getting, I don't know, the last report from yesterday, I think it was 350 pieces last week. So we're getting like 350 pieces of content a week. When you get the flywheel moving, it is the most obvious thing in the world to do. But getting the flywheel moving
it's the hardest
takes
part.
time.
Totally.
And most people don't have the time to do it, the resources, right? They don't have the resources, which is time. You need to wait for this stuff to connect.
Yeah.
You need to do it for 6 months before you can really say this is working for you or not.
And it's not necessarily something I think brands can just be like, oh, I'm going to go hire an agency to do this.
Yeah, no. And like we have a team working on it that is now an agency, but she started working for us with our playbook.
Right.
And she
Now
just
it's
started getting a lot of
productized
people asking her to help them, and she just sort of replicated that. But yeah, it's been super successful for us.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say? Any hot takes, opinions?
Hot takes.
Thoughts?
No,
People you want to call out?
No, I'm not here for that. Let them hang themselves. No, this was super fun.
Sick. All right, cool. We'll wrap it there.
All right.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next time to cut through the noise on CPG, retail, and e-commerce. If you enjoyed this episode, why not share it with a friend? And be sure to subscribe wherever you listen so you don't miss the next one.